Hi, this is Coach Picorni. I'm here recording this video because during this pandemic, there's a lot of you guys are having trouble getting out and doing things, getting to the weight. There's no weight room at the school and all that. But just want to go over a few things and go over some workouts, things you can do right now, even during this pandemic, and come out ahead in the long run. So first of all, as far as timing, what's going on, we don't know anything past the end of May right now. So as soon as we find out more information, the earliest even possible right now is June 1st, getting into the school. And as far as lifting, and even then, we fully expect that, first of all, if we were able to, there'll be some limits to that also. We also got to be ready for not being able to get into the schools at all until the end of summer or even later. So anyhow, that's kind of what we're looking at. And as soon as we know more, we'll let you know. Now, got my notes here so I can cover the things I want to cover. One comment or one quote out there is that champions are made when no one's looking, and this is the greatest example right now of where champions are going to be made. When you guys are stuck at home or don't have the opportunities to do things that you can do. Some of you guys are lucky and have weights in your room, in your home. You'll be able to lift the weights. Some of you have limited, maybe just dumbbells or something like that. All kinds of different types of things. I know I've talked to some parents and I've sent out some of the workouts that we do because you have weights, weight set in your house, and I've also modified some workouts to go with some equipment that certain people have, and I know some of you guys do some stuff on your own. So all good things. Make sure you're doing something though. The important thing is you can take a look at this time, this quarantine time, as the negative part that I can't do anything. I'm stuck here. I don't have the weights and all that. Or you can take a look at it as, this is an opportunity for me to separate myself from somebody else. Everybody else is in the same predicament that we are. They don't have the opportunities either. I'm going to make the most of this, and that's kind of what I want you guys, your mentality, and I hope that's what you have. Also, I'll show you some things. If you don't have any weights, I'm going to be showing you some things you can do that it gives you no excuse. There's always ways you can innovate and do stuff. Obviously, it's not as good as getting into the weight room and hitting having a good weight program and hitting it every day and lifting hard and all that. But you got to make the best of what you got. The most important thing is that you're doing these things consistently. All right. In the past, we normally have a 4-week lifting schedule, or 4 days a week lifting schedule. Try making a schedule on your own, just like this during the summer. If you were to be lifting during the summer, you go in a certain time every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Well, at home, make that a scheduled event at home, that every Monday, just example, at 2 o'clock, let's say, that works for me. I'm going to do that, 2 o'clock, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm going to stop whatever I'm doing. I'll stop all the video games, and I'm going to hit the weights or hit the workout or whatever you need to do to get a workout in. And I'll be going through a workout here with you guys. I'm going to send it also to your parents so that they have it. They could either use this workout, or they could use the one that I had emailed to them earlier. Or if you're on a good workout, I know some of you guys got a workout from some lifting you've been doing before. The most important thing is you're doing something, and also on time. Another thing is, if you've got a workout of your own, don't turn this off now, but continue to watch and listen to some of the techniques. Plus, at the end, I'm going to show you some wrestling things you can do to continue to improve your wrestling too. Not only your strength, but your wrestling. You can improve that now, even on your own without a partner. And I'll be showing you at the end of all this. You know, not only, I also hear, I talked about weights, some of you guys got weights. One thing else I heard too, and I think is fantastic, is I've heard a lot more about people have some wrestling mats in their homes now. They purchased a home wrestling mat. Either you can get them through Dolomer, or some of you may purchase an old wrestling mat from someone, a school or a club that's no longer using them. Things like that. I've heard several, I think at least 4 or 5 or more in the area now that have them, and that's fantastic. If you have that, that's great. If not, and you got a brother or sister that can wrestle around, nothing wrong with on the carpeted floor. That's where my kids wrestle most of the time. You just push the furniture away a little bit. Mom got a little bit nervous, but nothing was broke most of the time. So anyhow, another thing, every year, all you high school guys that are returning, you know that we do preseason testing on our maxes. We got 4 maxes we test on. You have to have 15% gains. We're not making exceptions this year, no matter what. Even if we can't get in the weight room or anything until November 1st, and then we start right into wrestling, doesn't matter. We're still testing you. You still have to have the 15% gains, or you're going to be doing the plate workout anyhow, okay? Because, in wrestling, there's no excuses. You can't say, well, the other guy dropped the ball, or the other guy did this, or whatever. It's you and your opponent. When you step to that line in wrestling and shake your opponent's hand, look him in the eye, he's not going to look back and say, hey, I know you didn't have weights at your house, so I'm going to take it easy on you today. That's not going to happen. They're going to come after you. So, there's no excuses. Hopefully, everything works out. We're going to be able to get some great workouts in. But just so you know, we're still testing. All right. All right. So, getting into the weight program, talk about some of this. Again, a lot of it has to do with what you have at home, what you can use. If you have weight sets, bars, dumbbells, everything, that's fantastic. That's probably the best. It just depends on what you got. Some people can have everything almost like the school with the racks and all that. And some of you guys just got a bench and dumbbells and a barbell and some weights, and some of you guys just got dumbbells and some have nothing. So we'll try covering some hints on what you could do and all that stuff. But another thing you could do is there's if you have a gym you can go to that's open right now, several are closed in the area, but I know there's several open. Make sure that if you do that they're following all the DHM guidelines of social distancing, the limit the number of members that can be in the facility at a time, and all the cleanliness stuff. And I know one in town that does an excellent job of that, but it also has student discounts. But anyhow, so whatever you have, take advantage of that. And certainly when I'm done with all this, if you have questions or you want a workout sent to you, I can send one to you there. But going through some of these, I'll just go through each lift here. Military press, everybody I think knows that. We've been doing this for a while. I like dumbbells. Most of the lifts, I like dumbbells because you need to balance it. It not only works the muscles you're targeting, but it also you have to balance it, so it also gives more work to some of the secondary muscles. But simple military press. If you have a barbell, I prefer dumbbells again. Barbell, you don't want to go behind the neck. All right, with this, keep it out front, big chest, and you're going pushing straight up. All right, going back too far, you're going to put a lot of stress on your shoulders that over time can wear on the shoulders. You don't have dumbbells, you don't have weights. There's other things you can do. Everybody's got a backpack, I'm sure. Put books in it. Books. You can put a book so you can have 50, 60 pounds in it easily. That's more than you need for your military press. You can put as many as you want in there. You can put bricks in there. You know, if you need to put more weight, that'll work too. All right, just like I got about 100 pound of bricks in here. All right, well maybe not, but anyhow, what you can do for your military press with the, let's say, a backpack. All right, you could just do a one arm military press one side, and then after you do your sets, I got 3 sets of 10 on here. All right, I can switch and do the other side. Okay, so no excuses. You don't have weights. You have something you could use. All right. Next thing is dumbbell curls. Again, you can use the backpack here for those curls. So again, no excuses. I'm going to be using curls here, straight curls, or you can do your hammer curls here. Just one thing on curls, I see a lot of people taking curls and they'll start side by side like this, like you do a hammer curl. They'll come up and rotate as you come up. See how I rotated? It came up like this. All right. I see it be taught on by some people online and stuff like that. That's not necessarily anything wrong with it. Okay, it's not going to hurt anything. But one thing to think about when you're doing this, all right, your straight hammer curl that comes straight up like this, that engages more your biceps. You got 2 biceps here. It engages more the one on the side here and underneath a little bit, and even down into your forearm when you do your hammer curls. Okay, for grip, you like that? That really helps your grip. Another thing is, when you do your straight curls, I guess that's going to be engage more of this one. Now, the other bicep is secondary in both cases, but just a little bit of a hint when you're starting out with one of them and you switch off to the other, you're in a transition. Your transition from one to the other, you're not getting full range of motion of the entire workout for either one. So for the hammer curl is great for this part back to here. Then you're switching off to the other. Then the muscles that you're developing for hammer curl lessen up here. Straight. The same thing with the straight bicep curl. When you start here, when you start down here like this, and you go as you're switching, it's not engaging as much here until you get to about here, and then it switches off. Okay, so you're not getting the full range of motion of the entire workout. I prefer when I talk to guys is do one or the other or both. You can do your hammer curls. We do in our lifting program during the season. We do hammer curls. Because again, I talk about it works these muscles down in the forearm and for grip. All right. So if you really want big biceps, those guys that really want to show off, do your hammer curls. Okay. Then you could also do regular curls, and you're gonna really work your biceps well. But anyhow, if I have a preference, I prefer hammer curls. Whether you're wrestling, football, or anything, because you think about a lot of your stuff, wrestling, you're up in here, you're reaching here, so you're more like a hammer curl. Than you're not going to lift a lot like this when you're doing anything. You're not going to be picking a guy's leg up like this. In football, you're going to be pulling in here like this when you're tackling. Okay, you're not going to be grabbing here and tackling either. So that's why I like hammer curls better. Again, both are good. This is okay too, but I just feel it doesn't work the entire length of your muscles like I would like to see it. Okay, let's see. Next, we're going to dumbbell jump squats. Okay, and just like a squat, I want to squat just like a squat with the barbell. Okay, I'm going to break at the hips first and go down. I want the barbell to go straight through my body as I go down, and I want to get low enough to where my hips start getting below my knees. All right, and one way that you could tell, since like at the school we don't have any mirrors in front of us to see where you're at, you can use somebody to assist you in the racks there. I would have someone, you get down to where you should be and set those safety bars at that level, so you always have to go to that level. Now, one thing that helps me is when I'm doing the squat, as I go down, when I get to the bottom, I feel, the glutes are carrying most of the weight going down, and it kind of shifts a little bit to the quads a little bit. That shows them my hips went down lower, got low enough, and I can actually feel it's slight difference, but I can feel it. And that's when I know I go down far enough. So something to think about when you're doing your squats. But anyhow, the dumbbell jump squats, same thing. We got to get down low. I see some of you guys when you're doing these jump squats at school, only getting about 3/4 in jumping. All right, we got to go all the way down, and we're going to jump as high as we can. Okay, high as you can on that. All right, if you don't have any dumbbells to do it, you can use a trusty backpack. I prefer to put it on the front rather than your back, because you put it on your back, this is gonna, when you jump and anything on your back, it pulls too much here. It puts more stress on your back that you don't need. Okay, so for these, we're gonna put it on the front. Get it comfortable, and then hold the backpack and down, and then now jump. And jump as high as you can again. And then come all the way down to where your squat should be, and jump again. We do that. I got that on here, 3 sets of 10. So most important thing, put it on the front, hold that weight up front, okay? Lateral dumbbell raises. All right, let's go over that. This one I see a lot of guys doing this one wrong, and a few tips for it so that you do it correctly. It protects your shoulders a little bit more, okay? If you notice, in my lifts, the program that I have, that I design it for injury prevention as much as strength, gain strength. I'm working, like what we call agonist and antagonist muscles. Easiest way to explain it, we work your biceps, and the opposite side, your triceps. You want to balance things out. Same thing in knees. You need your quads and your hamstrings. You need to work both of those. Otherwise, you have bad knees. Okay? So, also, we work a lot of the shoulders. Shoulders are a big problem in all sports. Okay? Football, baseball, wrestling. Shoulders is one of the number one type of injuries that athletes have are in their shoulders. Probably second would be in the knees. So, going back to the dumbbell lateral raises, we want to work this properly so that we're developing the muscles properly to prevent injuries. Okay, part of the reason why I know this is because I had to go through rotator cuff surgery a couple of years ago, and learned a lot from that. That a lot of it had to do with years ago not lifting the proper way, not knowing at the time. Now I know a lot more, not only from that, but also becoming a certified strength coach. Learned a lot from that. So here we go with the lateral dumbbell raises. Okay, when you do this, you'll want if you stand straight and go straight out. All right, a lot of times when you do that, I'll just use one to show. I see a lot of guys coming way up here like this. If you're coming way up here like this, all right, you came too far forward. You came slightly forward. You're not working the muscles. We're trying to work these deltoids right up here. All right, there's three deltoids up in here: anterior, posterior, interior, front, middle, back. Easy layman's term. Okay, if you're coming forward, you're working your front deltoids and even your top middle deltoid, and not much of your back. So now this muscle's not getting as strong as these two. Now we're looking at overworking these, and this one back here not working as much and not develop as much. That's where you start having rotator cuff problems, maybe even some labrum problems because you're not as strong there. So we want to make sure you're lifted properly. Now, I've also heard this being taught where to prevent that from, because if you stand straight, what happens is your shoulder and it's probably hard to see on video, but you can, when you try it, when you go straight up, your shoulder naturally kind of rotates out, and you're working again, the front and the middle. You're not working the back as much, okay? So to prevent that, some people teach to, like you're pouring a pitcher of water, to come up like this as you come up. Problem with that is you put a lot more strain. Now you're twisting as you go. So this can cause long-term injuries. Not necessarily anything you might not see in high school, maybe not, but if you continue on longer, it's more of a long-term thing, but we don't want to do it right. The best way to do these are with a slight lean, okay? So here, lean slightly forward, basically to where, the way I do is, these dumbbells are right in front of me, and this is about perfect. And then you're gonna raise it to about 45 degrees, straight, or 90 degrees, so straight out, okay? Not higher. If you're doing it right, it's almost impossible to go any higher than this, okay? So if you see someone doing this, obviously they came out forward. You can see it in the video where I'm coming out forward, all right, rather than to the side, okay? But here, straight out, all right, down. And also when you do these, a big mistake people make too, and probably even the biggest mistake, and this could cause injuries just lifting if you by what you're doing, is putting too much weight on. I think I'm a fairly strong person, probably stronger than average for my age, and stronger than most of you guys, if not all you guys, just about. But I use 5 pounds right now, okay? Part of it is I could get my shoulders back in stronger again after being off for so long with wrestling, and getting close again to maybe moving up to 8 pounds. All right, by summer, sometimes I can get as high as 10. I haven't gone over 10 pounds with these. I see guys doing 20 pounds with this stuff that I know should not be doing that, okay? And I try correcting you wrestlers and those people too whenever I see it. Plus I see them like almost flying. I mean, going so fast. This lift, there's a lot of lifts we'll talk about that you need to do max weight and push the max weight and things like that. This is one that's more about technique and the right amount of weight. In most cases, you high school guys, I don't see too many can go in from 5 to 10 pounds is about the max weight you should use. Maybe some real strong, bigger guys, 15 pounds, but I don't see anybody that should be doing that much more. And yeah, so to do this, I mean, it's, again, slight lean forward, all right? I bring it up, and I bring it in slow motion. Just take about at least a second and a half to go up, all right? Right to about here. Now, another thing you don't want to do, you don't want to engage your traps on this. When the guys are doing a lot of weights, they're swinging it, and because they can't lift it with their, because these deltoids are not the biggest muscles in the world, all right? And that's where you have problems. If you have too much weight on, you're gonna tear some deltoids, or you're gonna cause injury over time, okay? But it's just a nice even motion all the way up and down. You're gonna, just about this fast is all you should be going. Now when you do this, all right, again, relax the deltoid, the traps. So you should not be using your traps at all. You should feel relaxed in the traps, all right, and just moving up, right? And what that does, you should feel it only in your deltoids, right on the tip of your top of your shoulder, and right on the edge of the shoulder, right here, okay? And when you're done, you may think, oh man, this is so easy, all right? But do it slow. It should be about 1.5 seconds up, 1.5 seconds down. By the time you get to 10, if you're doing the right weight, even at 5 pounds, most of you guys are going to be really hurting. Some of you smaller guys, younger guys, you might take a 2.5 pound weight, all right, and do that, okay? So, but again, and when you feel it too, if you're doing it right, you feel evenly on the top, the middle, the top, all should be pretty evenly getting tired, all right, or from the lifting. You should feel that, Okay, if you're doing it wrong, you're gonna feel it more in the front and side. If you don't feel anything, you obviously did something wrong. You probably engaged your traps too much, and you're swinging it up, and you're just getting momentum going. All right. So a lot of details on this lift. If you do it wrong, it's real easy to do wrong, but in a lot of details to do it right. So this is important. I hope you got all that. You can replay this and make sure you do it right. Obviously, I keep an eye on you guys in the weight room to make sure that is done right, because this is a very important part of keeping our shoulders protected. All right. Let's say you don't have dumbbells. Again, what can we do? Well, most of you guys have milk jugs. All right. Fill a milk jug with water. That's about 8 pounds right there. Okay. If you want 5, go a little lower. All right. If you don't have a scale, you can just kind of estimate. All right. And then you could just do the same thing, lifting your milk jugs filled with water. Okay. Right here, same thing. No traps, all deltoids. Okay. Slight lean forward. All right. Bent over rows. Everybody knows bent over rows. I'm hoping we're working our back muscles in here. Where we're doing our benching and push-ups and stuff. We work our chest. We want to work our back muscles to even things out again for injury prevention. This is you're bent over straight, or basically my chest is about parallel, and I'm going to pull the weight up. I'm using my other hand here on a bench or a chair, in like this case, to stabilize myself. I'm going to pull this weight up, and when I do that, I want my shoulder blade like it's pinching together and back. Okay, even though it's on one side, I'm only doing it right now. You want that shoulder blade to pinch back into the middle. So here, all the way up, like that. Now, don't have dumbbells. Again, that's where your milk jugs. This might be a little bit more difficult with a backpack, but this still can be done if milk jugs aren't enough weight. You want more weight, you can probably get 40, 50 pounds in all these backpacks or books. That might be too much for you for this lift, but you can take a few books out, and now you have about 20 pounds. It just depends. This one's a little bit too long, but same thing, you can use a backpack. You might tighten up the straps, and that might help with that. But again, no excuses. Just because you don't have dumbbells doesn't mean you can't do it. You got the equipment to do it. All right, or find some object you have at home that weighs that much you can do. All right, we got push-ups. Everybody knows push-ups. Real quick, couple of quick techniques with that. See a lot of younger guys with their butt in the air. So you can see here, keep your core straight all the time. Bend down, all right, all the way. To while your chest just about touches the floor. Now, one question I get on this, on how should I do a push-up? Your elbows should not be out like this if you do a push-up. Let's say I'm laying on the floor. This is bad. This is bad position for your shoulders. It could cause a lot of issues. Okay. I've heard anything from elbows to side push-ups, or most people do it about 45-degree angle right here. My philosophy on that is, and everything I've learned is, first of all, we do the lifts, all these lifts, to develop muscles that are functional for our sport or sports. How many times in football are you blocking with your elbows in? I mean, what sport do you do this? Elbows in like this. Maybe Greco, your elbows are inside, but again, you're not pushing it like this, where your elbows come away. That'd be a bad thing in Greco. So, don't use that excuse, you Greco guys. Yes, elbows are in, but you're not pushing normally. You're not getting your elbows away. So, I don't know of any sport where you're doing this, elbows in. All right? Football, you're blocking in here. Wrestling, you shouldn't be doing push-up off the mat. You just get guy throwing halves and all kinds of things. Technique that we'll talk about. But what we want to do is work the chest muscles. So, for the wrestling part. You know, because there are sometimes you might be in tight and you push off a guy or something like that. But again, you're not going to push off in here. You know, it's usually in a good stance. So that's why I say elbows about 45 where you're comfortable, just like when you bench. You do a bench press. Yes, I know some people do here, but right here's the ideal place, okay? Pull-ups, all right. That's something that might be difficult at your house if you don't have a pull-up bar. You know, because most people don't have pull-up bars attached to their walls. Some have those you could buy that are in doorways. But you know what? A lot of people have swings outside, okay, that you can, once you do your workout inside, you can go out and do your pull-ups on the swing set, okay? It might be something you have to grab onto, really difficult to grab onto, all right? And if you don't have a swing set, a lot of times a neighbor has one. I don't have a swing set in our backyard. Kids are all growing up, don't need way more, but I got 2 neighbors that do. I'm sure if I ask them, they'll let me come over there. Same thing with your neighbors. I'm sure if you don't have one, you can ask and they'll let you come over. You do your pull-ups there. Crunches, you guys all know crunches. Main thing, remember, is engage your core. When you're doing your crunches, engage your abs, working on that, all right? Going on, we talked a little bit about squats, the techniques of squats. As far as what you have at home, you can use dumbbells if you don't have a bar. If you do have a bar at home, you know, this is one of those you really should have someone helping spotting you, your parents or sibling or something. So just be aware of that. You could also, if you don't have that, you can use dumbbells and just do dumbbell squats. You know, that'll work too. None of that, the old trusty backpack, all right? Just like our jump squats. I would put this on the front, all right, and hold it as you do your squats. You know, you can squat, okay? Notice how I keep whether I have a backpack on or not, I'm gonna keep my chest up, and I'm gonna break at the hips first, and go straight down your knees. Now, your knees do go slightly in front of your toes, but not a lot. You don't want them way out front, where your heels come up. When you do a squat, your weight should be pushed through the heels, okay? All right? Through the heels of your feet, all right? You shouldn't be on your toes. If your heels come up, you're too far forward with your knees, all right? But the knees do, and if you can't really see that very well there, but when you do a squat, all right, you know, first break at the hips. See, I'm breaking at the hips as I start going down, head, chest up, all right? And I'm going down. See, the knees are slightly ahead, but not much. Not like this, all right, where my heels start coming up. Okay, so squats, again, backpacks you could use in front holding. Okay, shrugs, all right. This is another one I see people doing wrong. Not that it hurts or anything, but they get weights, sometimes too much weight, so they can't quite do it right, and they go faster, just like this, going real fast, okay? This, you know, you do want a lot of weight on this one, all right? But when you do it, slow and hold for about a second at the top. Shrug, hold, down, shrug, hold for a second, back down, okay? So you're trying to engage your traps back here, so be aware of that. You should feel your traps. If you're just shrugging your shoulders real quick, you're not doing the weight properly. Okay, dumbbell tricep extensions. If you have a bench, that's great. That's where we're laying down. We're keeping this part of your arm straight, and we're moving laying down. If you don't have a bench, you can still do it on the floor. See if I can get some. You can see that here. Right here. All right, I'm gonna bend here, just like this with your dumbbells. So you're using just your triceps, okay? Not coming forward like this, or this, I'm not moving. See that when you when I do this, I just bend all the way, my triceps bend. If I come forward like this, I barely get 90 degrees. That's like going here. Okay, so if you don't have these, you can use your milk jugs. Kind of hard to do that with a backpack, but another thing you could do is here like this, extend. If you don't have your weights, trusty old backpack with your books in there. You can do the same there. Switch sides. All right, with your triceps. So again, no excuses there. If you don't have the right equipment, you got something you can do. Deadlift. I got deadlift here. This one's a little bit more challenging, but still can be done. Okay. And one thing about deadlift I want to talk about. For whatever reason, I don't know, it's probably one of the most challenging for me to get guys to do. Guys complain that their back hurts, they complain, I don't know, make all kinds of excuses why they don't want to do it or skip it, okay? The thing is, the deadlift is probably one of the most important lifts we're doing here. And if you talk to a lot of the experts, you know, in sports strength, deadlift is one of the most important lifts we do, okay? And part of the reason why it gets some negative publicity is because it also could, if you do it wrong, you could hurt your back. And if you're hurting your back, that's because you're doing it wrong. You got to do it right. But you have to do it, because if you don't do it, you're going to hurt your back anyway. Okay? If you're not doing deadlift, think about how many times you shoot in on a guy and you're like this on a leg. Look where my back is at. All right? Yes, we teach head up. All right? Bring your chest in and lifting. But I guarantee you, guy sprawls on you a little bit. All of a sudden, your back is bent. Now you're trying to lift here, come up. All right? Two things happen. First of all, if you have been doing deadlift, got a strong back, you're able to come up easier, prevent the injury. If you haven't been doing deadlift because you think it's going to hurt your back or your back does bother something, if your back if it hurts your back, we need to talk about it and figure that out. I got some tips in a second. But if you're not doing it, you increase the chances of injury by not doing it rather than by doing it. So some of you think that, hey, I might hurt myself doing deadlift. Well, you're probably more likely to get hurt when you don't do it, okay? Especially in wrestling, because so many times you bend over on a shot, and the guy's sprawling on you, all of a sudden all your back's muscles are working, and if you haven't been doing deadlift, there comes a strain, and there is where you can injure your back, okay? And plus, you're not going to be able to finish the moves, stuff like that, okay? So, extremely important lift. If you have problems that it hurts your back, back off on the weights. Go lighter weights. Make sure you're getting the technique down on your deadlifts. Head and chest up. You come to a bar, right in here. And you should be right. It should be almost right against your shins. When you're lifting on a bar, heavy weights, sometimes do over and under grip so that bar doesn't roll on you. Do double overs. That helps improve your grip strength. Okay, but anyhow, I'm down here on the bar. You're bringing it up close. You got to bring it up and just clear it easy. So keeping your back straight, chest up as you're lifting in here. Now, another thing about deadlift too is even if you weren't in sports, if I as a personal trainer, it would be one of the lifts I would still do with a client, because it's a very functional move that not only helps you in sports but in life. Okay, because how many times are you going to move a couch? You got to pick it up. You're picking up a box. That is basically a type of a deadlift. Okay, so it's important that you develop those muscles. Now, yes, you can do some kind of back extension and thing to work your muscles and stuff like that in your back, and those are fine and help. But the thing about the deadlift is it's a multi-joint movement, and we like a lot of multi-joint movements in our program. The one I don't have here is hang cleans, because we're doing it at home, and most of you guys don't have bars to do cleans. You don't have the space. If you do, great. But I didn't included that in there because of that. But anyhow, it's a multi-joint movement that if you're doing a deadlift, when you're lifting, you know, it's not only going to work your back muscles, it works your glutes, okay, and your hamstrings. It's working the different multiple muscle groups, okay, at the same time. So they're developing in unison is the best way of putting it, okay. Whereas if you're just exercising to do a back extension type of thing, and then you're doing something for your glutes, and then something for your hamstrings, you know, single joint movements, they don't develop equally, okay, if you understand what I'm saying. Okay, so they're off a little bit. That's what injuries can happen, when they're off a little bit. Okay, deadlift, multi-joint movement, going to work everything together, develop it equally, so that, you know, after you've been doing this for a while, your back that hurts is actually gonna quit hurting. Okay, but make sure you do it properly. Lighter weights in the beginning if it's hurting, and then as it starts, the pain goes away, then you can start doing it. The pain could be from your muscles being off, okay? Or it could be other, if there's something more serious. Now the thing is, anybody that tells me in wrestling that their back hurts too much to do a deadlift, they probably shouldn't be wrestling, okay? Or you can't wrestle very well. So if you're wrestling, doing a great job of wrestling, you're wrestling great, but your back hurts for a deadlift, I don't believe it, okay? I'm not saying it doesn't hurt, I'm just saying that you need to do something to fix it, and that's something we talk about. Now for a deadlift, if you don't have a bar, or you don't have enough weights to do it, you can use a couch. This is a deadlift. I'm gonna come over here, squat, back straight, all right? I mean, it's not a perfect deadlift, but it's also very functional, but it's better than nothing, okay? Here, I'm gonna lift this up. 1, 2, see, there you go. There's my deadlift workout. You do more than 2. I got you down for, on this here, let's see, 10, I believe. Nope, 15 on that, because couch is lighter than what you should be doing. If you can only do 10 because you're a smaller guy, then that's fine, whatever you can do. But again, deadlift is extremely important to do, not only here, but in the weight room. So you guys are making excuses. Again, this is a big mistake if you're not doing a deadlift, especially in wrestling. All right, external rotation. This is to develop some of our rotator cuff muscles that are very important for stabilization of your shoulder and preventing shoulder injuries, okay? In the weight room, we have that cable where we go do the external rotation right here, okay? Keep our elbows tight to the side, all right, and just rotating right in here. Most of you guys don't have cables at home, probably none of you. I'd be surprised if anybody does. You can take a dumbbell or your milk jug, again, just lay on your side here, all right? I'm gonna lay on my side. Same thing, get my elbow to my side right here, get in a position where all I'm gonna do, rotate up and down, right here. This is my external rotation. Working your rotator cuff muscles, okay? Flip over, do the opposite side. There's your rotator cuff. Milk jugs, same thing. Usually has the right amount of weight in there. Okay, here, rotate up. Okay. All right. So that's working these rotator cuff muscles back here. You also have it's the supraspinatus or whatever that's called up here. It's the rotator cuff muscle. Usually that one you can work. That one develops in your military press and bench press or push-ups and things like that. We also have another. There's basically 4 different rotator cuff muscles. There's another one up here that we're going to target. And that's based off of, this is a lift you guys aren't familiar with yet. Well, at least the name probably. And I've seen guys do it, so I know that it's being worked. It's called scaption. And this will, what I'm going to do is stand out straight here, and I'm going to take my arms are straight, elbows are locked, take my hands out about 45 degrees right here. Okay, this is going to work not only some of your back muscles on the shoulder blade, but but also that upper rotator cuff muscle up there. So we got all our rotator cuff muscles covered. We got all the deltoids covered. If you're doing everything right, your shoulder is good and protected. So hopefully reducing shoulder injuries. You know, I don't remember if I mentioned this earlier, but you know, we had a lot of problems with shoulder injuries several years ago, and about the time Mr. Fredrickson came around, you know, he came to Bennington from Central, and we had a lot of shoulder injuries, not only us, but you know some other sports, and he couldn't believe how many shoulder injuries. And that was about the time that I was doing my certification, and that was one concern I had too, is making sure we're developing the shoulders properly so that we prevent those injuries. And we've cut down significantly on our shoulder injuries by doing these lifts, and so that's why these are extremely important. It doesn't guarantee we won't have a shoulder injury, but I do know it's significantly less than what we used to have, so that's a positive thing. All right, we're just about done here. We got next we got stiff dumbbell deadlift, or stiff leg dumbbell deadlift. This one I'm trying to develop our hamstrings now. Okay, you do develop them through somewhat through squats and your deadlifts too, but they're kind of secondary muscles. This is more we're targeting more directly. You know, to help with a couple things, speed, and also prevent hamstring issues and stuff like that. Okay, and also if you overdo your squats and things, but don't develop your hamstrings enough, it also that could start creating knee problems. And so this is going to help with that. Many ways we do this. You guys know that. I know you guys got some weak hamstrings based off of our glute ham raises you guys did last year when we started doing that during the season. Need to work those hamstrings. We gotta get stronger at that. Also, we use that a lot in wrestling where we're scooping and legs and things like that. You use your hamstrings. Even some of your shots, you know, you need your good strong hamstrings to help. So anyhow, what this one is, I'm just gonna bend at the waist. Keeping my knees locked out, all right, and the weights close to my body. What I want to do is when I go down, I should feel my hamstrings stretching, getting tight, okay? You know, down as far as you can. Don't bounce. Just go down until you're tight, all right? And some of you younger guys like to go a lot further, and if you go all the way down and your weights touch, okay. Then as you come up, knees stay straight. You're just hinging at the hips. And you should feel your hamstrings pulling up. I don't mean pulling as being stretched and torn. I mean pull as being contracted, and that's what's lifting you. So you're developing your hamstrings here, up. Okay, that's all it is. And it's just an even motion. Don't be bouncing, things like that. That's where you can create an injury. Okay, and the last thing I want to cover on this. Oh, I guess I got two more things. Next, what I'll cover is step up with high knee, okay? And you'll want to get a good solid chair. This was probably borderline, especially if I had weight, extra weight. You know, maybe have another chair that's more solid, but I want something that's usually about knee height or maybe just barely slightly below. We have some stands at school that we use, and also our benches that we use. You can use that, but it's just step with high knee. I like to have some dumbbells. You can also do it with a barbell on your back with some weights. I like dumbbells. It seems to you have to balance yourself a little bit more. But all this is I'm stepping up and I'm coming up, bringing my knee as high as I can. Back down. All right, all in one motion. Stepping here, all the way up, all the way down. Okay. If you got to catch your balance here, okay, with your foot, but use that. All right. Do that 5 times on one, switch, do the other one. Okay. All the way down. See how I'm going all the way down and all the way up. I prefer not to do this where I do one leg and then switch, then do the other leg. Don't alternate. Try to stay with one leg and then switch to the other. This is a good workout for developing shots, okay, explosion on shots, and sprinting. In fact, I actually got this lift here. I mean, it's been around for a while, but it was one of our former wrestlers that was going through the NFL Combine. He came back and he was telling me about this. This is one of them they did to help him with his speed and stuff like that. So it's great for explosion, stuff like that. One thing I like about it too, especially with the dumbbell that even enhances it more than the barbell, is you have to balance yourself to some degree as you step up and go up. What that's doing is you're balancing in here. That's developing your muscles around your ankles. It reduces ankle injuries, things like that. So it's not only good for explosiveness and speed, but it's also good for if you have bad ankles, a lot of ankle injuries. This will develop your ankles, strengthen your ankles. Because again, as I come up, and I don't know if you can see that from that angle where, you know, if you're coming up, sometimes you're doing this to get your balance. That's stabilizing and developing your muscles. You may have trouble at first, and again, if you start losing your balance a little bit, you can use this foot to kind of catch it, and then come back up. You know, and this is great for, you know, again, functionality is what we're looking for. The explosion, the quickness, and also develop muscles to prevent ankle injuries. Okay, so a real nice lift I like. That's in a lot of our programs. Okay, then the last one now, planks. Pretty easy, you guys all know those. Some important tips on that. Number one, keep your butt down. That's the biggest problem I see. Your butt's in the air on your planks. But when you get down, okay, we're going to do 3 sides when we do this, and we're going to do it 60 seconds like on the workout. All right, if your core is not strong enough, you younger guys, maybe go 45 to start with and work up to 60. Okay, but here, keep it tight, pinching your glutes together, your butt cheeks together, right here, nice strong core. You should feel it in your abs, right in there. So you do we're going to do 3 sides again. Here, then we're going to go on the side right here. And then we'll flip, do the opposite side. Now, one tip on the side here, I see a lot of guys doing this, where they come up and they use this hand, post it on their wrist or hand over here, okay? Let's see if we can get this angle where you can see where they're here. Okay, kind of, that's cut off, can't really see it. But what that does is, when you do that, you actually round forward a little bit, and you're not getting your obliques like we're hoping to get. All right, then your hips start coming up. All right, right here, you can put your hand on your hip. Some people like to hand their hand straight in the air. Doesn't matter, either one. The main thing is, we want the balance right on top of this elbow, straight up. Okay, whether it's here or here. All right, where you're just teetering on the edge. If you go forward, again, you're losing what we want to do. All right, so that covers this workout. This is something, I know I sent one out about 5-6 weeks ago, I think it was, kind of a high intensity type of thing, kind of limited, nothing with weights. I know some of you guys reminded me doing that. I also sent out information, mainly through Twitter about Nebraska USA. They're doing right now about 2 per week, different types of workouts that you could use. Those were things that hopefully you guys have been doing the last several weeks, but I thought I'd send this one out to take us forward for the next few weeks. Hopefully we'll be into the weight room soon and be able to get into some good workouts. But doing this, it's not as good as the one we'll do at the school, but it's along that lines, and do it right, it'll be good for you, okay? Told you we talked a little bit about wrestling too, some wrestling techniques you can do and things you can do on your own to make you better. You know, one of the simple things is just getting in a stance, good wrestling stance in here. All right, maybe a little motion right in here. Just your stance, your good stance, okay? Try doing that, set a timer, do this for 2 minutes, right in here. Just do it right in here. Okay, good stance. you know, and don't cheat, don't put your hands on your knees, okay, don't come out of it the rest. You might have to, when you first start it, if you can't get 2 full minutes. Most of you guys, older guys, should be able to do this. You know, yeah, it might be tiring, but you should be able to get it. Some younger, you know, kids might have a little bit more trouble at first, but work up to it. You want to take it to another level. You guys who know that we do the stance in motion and sprawl and down block and shots, especially if you have a wrestling mat at home like I talked about, a lot of you guys do now. You could do that from this on your own, just on your own, hit those and do that for 2 minutes, then take a little 30-second break, do it for 2 minutes, 30-second break, and 2 minutes again, okay? So that's a good thing you could do. Another thing you can do for as far as wrestling goes, is the shadow wrestle. It's something we talked about somewhat during the season. If you don't, I mean, obviously if you have a partner, that's even better, okay? But if you don't have a partner, you can shadow wrestle. And this is something you can start now, and even when we start getting back into the weight room and into the wrestling room, even during the season, I mean, you can get up in the morning and you know, 5 minutes early and just do a few techniques to help develop your shots or whatever you want to develop to get better. But shadow wrestling. So what I'm going to do is, remember back when you're about 3 years old, you had that imaginary friend? Well, that imaginary friend didn't go anywhere. Bring him back, okay? He's going to be right in front of you, all right? I'm going to be right here. You got an imaginary friend, all right? And you want to go through some of your techniques, okay? So here, I might get the wrist, work up into a bunt grip, working around, all right? Setting up my sweep singles, all right? Going through the motions, all right? In your mind, going through the technique, imagine what you're in here low, you're making contact, working up into your bunt grip, maybe even change your foot position, work your setups. You know, to start off with, maybe some of you younger guys that don't know a lot of the techniques yet, maybe you try a sweep single to start with, whatever works for you. And you can do multiple. You guys are more experienced, you can do multiple things. You can sweep singles, you can do high crotches, all that stuff on your own. But also go through the motions. And in your mind, visualize that you're doing this, okay? Like I said, you're in here, I'm an inside tie, all right? I circle to set up that leg. In my mind, I see that, I'm visualizing that leg coming forward. And I'm coming on my inside tie into my high crotch. Throwing that arm behind me, coming, cutting that corner, high in the crotch, driving, come across. Okay, so you can do this, all right? Maybe get 10 of each move, all right? Do maybe 3 moves every day. Do a sweep single, do a high crotch, okay? Maybe you want to do a fireman's in there, or maybe whatever your number 1, 2, and even 3 takedown is, do each one of those 10 times every day. And make sure in your mind you're going through the technique. For example, sweep single. You know, I talked about bunt grip. You can go all kinds of underhooks, push, pull, whatever your setup is. You can even do multiple setups, but do the setup. In your mind, you're imagining, you see it, you see it happening, all right? And as you do it, make sure you're hitting all the technique right. Sweep singles, you know, make sure you get that shoulder behind the hamstring, all right? Your head's in tight, your ear's in tight to the hip, all right? All that, just do the technique right. If you do that every time, and every time you imagine it through, what that does is that reinforces in your mind over and over and over the technique. So then when you get a partner, all of a sudden now, you've been doing this 200 times, 300 times maybe, by the time we get on the mat. I don't know, 300 times, you know, you're going to be a lot better. You're going to find out that, wow, you know, you reinforce in your mind, you know what you're doing. Now you got to do it on a live person. You know, so it's a little bit more challenging there, but at least you're going through the steps and the technique right. And you may think, oh, coach is going crazy, you know, that doing some weird, you know, he's off his rocker, he's talking about imaginary people and all that. visualization is something that elite athletes do, not only wrestlers, but other athletes. I know this one story, I don't remember who it was exactly. He wasn't a wrestler. I think it was actually a female skier, but I could be wrong. But the story is the same no matter what. First time qualified to Olympics. And this person, let's say she's a female skier, I'm pretty sure that's what it was, that was interviewed and said, they asked her, this is the first time you've been to the Olympics. How are you going to handle the nerves when you get up there? You're one of the top in the world. How can you handle those nerves? And she said, that's easy. That may be the first time at the Olympics, but I've been at the Olympics 1,000 times. And basically what she was saying, she visualized herself in that situation at the Olympics, going for gold, and going through everything in her mind. That is pretty common when you talk about athletes. NFL players, same thing. I know Buck Rasmussen, when he coached with us, he played with the Patriots for a few years, has the Super Bowl ring. He talked about that too, visualization techniques and things like that, how that you can improve your technique and improve your wrestling and all that, and they use that too in football. But so it's not something crazy I made up. It's also something you can use when you're warming up. You're visualizing your opponent, what you're doing, your warm-ups, rather than just kind of bouncing here. You might start in here, working your shots and everything, and you can do that without a mat. It's better with a mat. You can also work off the stanza, explosions, things like that, getting good foot position. One of the biggest problems I see in our stand-ups, guys not getting their foot out far enough, and they're putting they're driving forward over that rather than out straight, so when they get driven up, okay, and also gives them a chance back pressure, okay. So all your techniques, all right. I'm not going through all the simple techniques here, and all this is mainly for you to start learning. Who knows, maybe if this goes on longer, maybe I'll start putting out a couple different videos on some techniques you could do with your imaginary partner. But just a few tips. Things to go over lifting. Again, I'm going to send an email out to parents. I have a link to this video. So hopefully you guys learned something from the lifting standpoint. I definitely learned that I have no excuse now. I got milk jugs, I got a backpack, I got books, I can make my own weights, and coach isn't going to accept any excuses when the season comes, because your opponent won't, simply. So anyhow, hope you guys learned something from this. Ladies too, I know we're going to have some girls next year, I'm excited. First girls in Bennington High School history. They're going to start doing great things here soon too. So anyhow, any questions or anything for me, or need any help, you know how to get a hold of me. Parents know how to get a hold of me. I hope that be seeing you guys soon. It's killing me. You could ask my wife that, I've been dying to get on the mat again. NSA won't let us, but that's why she said you must be missing it, because you do this crazy virtual fantasy tournament. Turns out a lot of people liked it, had enjoyed it, and now I'm making videos. So yeah, obviously I'm missing it. So I'm missing all you guys, and hopefully soon we'll be seeing you. So that's it. Keep working hard.